I think we're live now.
Now we're live. Okay.
We are
What
live.
is up, everyone? What is up, everyone? My name is Richie. I am here with my co-host.
Hello, I'm Aleks in the car.
I am also Aleks. I am at home.
I am at home too. We've had a chaotic day. I thought we were live for the last 2 minutes, but we weren't. So chaotic day, chaotic mind. But I think it relates perfectly to the game in general because this was a bit of a chaotic episode in some aspects in a lot of different ways. So we do have some fun stuff to talk about. We have some fun announcements at the end of this video. We have some fun questions we're going to hear from you guys. And we are also going to talk about everything that happened. But first, to quote Julie Chen, the episode in general, before we really go into depth with the episode, I definitely will say it was interesting. If I'm just giving like a spoiler-free version of it, it was definitely interesting. What do you guys think about it before we start going into it without spoiling the episode? What did you guys think of it?
Yeah, very interesting episode. We'll, again, talk more about it. I'm like 5 minutes from home, so just driving right now.
Hero says, nice bandana, Rich Doc. Thank you. I do like it. I was surprised someone caught on to the pattern I was doing with the bandanas there for the breakdown, but yeah, also a special congratulations to this, now that Ben brought it up, that Maris did get engaged today. And I did say it right this time, Maris, so congratulations.
There we go.
Congratulations, Maris.
Congratulations, Maris. We're all so happy for you. All right, so unless you guys have anything you want to talk about, I think we should get right into the episode.
I agree. And there wasn't really much preamble between the brief little recap of episode 2. I think it just jumped straight right into a very fun challenge. So how about you tell us about that, Rich Dog?
Yeah, was there a lot of talk before the challenge or no? Just to make sure I didn't forget anything.
Pretty sure it just went straight to the challenge.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of talking really going on. Just kind of, after tribal talking, that's really it, I'm pretty sure. But nothing really, yeah.
Alrighty, so then we'll get into a challenge that I feel like is similar to some challenges we've seen before, but I also think it was a lot of fun differences to it. I feel like the closest comparison, I'll say what the challenge is, and then I'll say maybe the comparison to what I initially thought of when I saw this challenge. So this challenge, essentially like handball, you have a ball, people have to get the ball. They can take, I think it was up to 3 steps with it. And then after they do that, they have to throw it to someone else, and they kind of keep going back and forth with it to try to throw it to one of their tri-mates. They have to get it into the goal, and they do. They get a point. First tribe to 2 points wins immunity, safe for Nouveau. Losers tribal council, where someone will become the 3rd person voted out of this game. When I first saw this challenge, I immediately kind of had a flashback to that flag football challenge they did, and Survivor Wisconsin won. I shouldn't say we because I was gone way before that point, but that was a fun challenge. I definitely kind of almost thought of that when we brought this challenge out, and I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. I thought it was really fun. Thought it was going to get a little more physical, but I mean, it's still a very fun challenge to watch. I think we had some very fun moments. More so a little afterwards than anything, which we'll get to that. But before we get to the results and that, Aleks, Steib, what did you guys think about the challenge?
Very fun challenge to film. Like, I was cheering for both sides both times. I was pretty quiet, of course, behind the camera, so you didn't see me, really pumping my fist in the air. But I was really enjoying the whole, match between the 2 tribes. It was pretty fun to watch.
I saw the competition live, obviously, and unlike Aleks, I was actually very loud and obnoxious to the point where Aleks said, "Hey, Steib, you need to shut the hell up with the ad-libs. You're cutting into the video too much." I was too busy commentating on the game. This person passes to this person. Oh, they go for a shot. No, I was enjoying that handball competition, and I wish it went for more than 2 points, to be honest, because that was very entertaining.
Honestly, I definitely will say I agree with you on that part of it, Steib. I definitely think it would have been fun to have someone commentating on it, although I can kind of see where it can kind of like if it's in the audio. But I do agree. I really wish this challenge would have went to at least like 3 to 5 points. I get maybe not 5, but I kind of wish at least 3 because this challenge was such a fun challenge, but it went so fast. It felt like it went so fast that it's like once someone kind of got the first one, it's kind of like they're going to be lucky if they can catch up. So I love the challenge. If they ever bring it back in the future, I think it should definitely at least be 3 points minimum. But that's just me. I'm a bit of a contrarian where I will definitely probably have some thoughts maybe not everyone agrees with. But to kind of hear you say that, I'm glad. So do either of you guys have anything else you want to say before we get into the results of the challenge?
No,
For the kids.
Yeah, it's right. Ben also had Ben maybe learned a different meaning of for the kids, depending where the ball hits. Now, getting to the results, I mean, I don't know if I would say it was worth it for Ben, considering the fact that Bully lost immunity, Vuku wins immunity by a score of 2-1. And honest to God, I thought it was a really fun challenge. Again, which would have lasted longer. But here's the other big twist of this episode that I forgot to mention earlier. That I'm pretty sure it was before the challenge. All the players were told that right before the challenge, I believe it was, that after Tribal Council, or after Tribal, I cannot speak today, guys. It's been a day. After the challenge, the tribe that loses will only have a few moments to talk and strategize, and then after that, they will have to immediately go to Tribal Council.
Testing. Are we good?
Yeah,
I can hear you loud and clear.
Let's go.
The long story short, though, the losing tribe doesn't have a lot of time to talk and strategize. They will have to, I guess, go to Tribal Council. Not immediately, but borderline immediately. So, with that in mind, Bulai is the one that is kind of screwed in a sense. And we do see a lot of fun moments on Bulai. But first, we have some fun time on Vuku. Not enough time. I do feel like Kira. We'll get to that in a bit. I will say, for I cannot speak today. It's like I said, I'm gonna let you guys take over Vuku for a minute while I try to relearn the English language.
Yeah, so Fuku, good win, confessionals, Will kind of knows he's like the main target now, kind of, but he's, he kind of knows that like he has that social ability to, kind of garner, alliance, credit kind of. So he does know that he's right now the biggest threat to go. So we'll kind of see down the line maybe how he can kind of adapt to that. But that's kind of the biggest thing I took away from that right now was that Will is right now to him is the biggest threat. And that after that Atticus went off, like he just kind of knows that like if they don't win, he's out.
Steib, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think Will's playing one hell of a game, and obviously Will has, as he mentioned, experience playing other LRGs as well. So with all that experience piled up, of course, will be perceived as a threat. So it was nice for Will to perform very well in this challenge and to make the tribe of Vuku safe.
Yeah, he played like his back was on the line, really. Like he was.
Right, I was about to say,
yeah, like all or nothing for him.
Right, and that's how people should be playing the game. They should be playing hard, because as we see when we get back to Vuku, Will is immediately like going off, trying to solidify them. He's trying to talk about the future of the game. He's trying to talk about the future of the game, and there's a lot of interesting talk where they start to try to predict: is there going to be a comeback? Is there going to be like a merge? Well, they know it's a comeback, but they're like, when's the comeback going to happen? What's going to happen with it? Who's going to get back in? They're trying to think about who could be voted off and who could be a risk, And I do think it's very interesting how Will is trying to spearhead these talks when Aleks and Steib, as you guys kind of both said, Will is essentially in the bottom, but he's trying to spearhead all these talks. Will it get him anywhere? Will it get him safety? Who really knows? But I will say, I do think it was a very interesting episode because after this point, Vuku really finally starts hunting for idols and advantages. And
but leaded by Will, which is kind of funny, you know.
And
Will to say, you know,
we do get a lot of fun looking people kind of looking around until eventually Tyler finds the steal a vote advantage, I believe it was. And Tyler, I believe, said it was the first time he had found anything playing any game, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was a very fun moment because, you know, the first time you find something, that's such an amazing feeling.
I think we all know that feeling at this point now. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, we're like 3.
It's a good feeling.
It is a good feeling.
Well, I should give my credit to Maggie because Maggie was the reason I found that in Fans versus Favorites. So, you know, thank you, Maggie, if you're watching. I miss Maggie. Maggie's such a nice person. Hopefully she plays someday. Again someday, I should say. Yeah, big slate for Tyler. It was like a big fun moment for Tyler. Dollar. I can't speak.
Ty Dolla $ign.
Ty Dolla $ign. I cannot speak today, guys. It has been a day. But the fun part, though, is still yet to come because it's all the chaos on Bulai. Before we get to Bulai, is there anything else that I didn't touch on that you guys want to touch on? Maybe something I forgot? Your thoughts on everything?
No, Vuka was pretty short, and you know, just it was basically like Will kind of saying like, yeah, he's on the bottom, and then they go hunting for the idol, and Tyler found something.
Yeah.
So
I do think it's very interesting how Natalie, I believe, got a confessional regarding how, I think as we touched on last week, she was definitely riding the middle, kind of like almost, I don't want to say instigating Will versus Atticus, but borderline like pushing them, like, hey, like,
yeah,
understand.
she was the middleman for it. Yeah,
I think like Natalie touch? I thought Natalie touched up and said something on this. If I remember,
I think she said something about it. I just forget what she said. So
I mean, it's smart, you know. Natalie's gonna be like
she's playing the game.
Harmony Shallow and Natalie Anderson
for rookie
right now, you know.
Yeah, for rookie, that was a really good move, you know.
Yeah, Natalie's a fun player, you know. I can definitely see with a lot of potential going forward if she's able to go for it, depending on how long she goes. Maybe she'll go next episode. Maybe she'll go to the end. Maybe she'll go sometime later on. So, you know, Natalie and Maddie Sasso, that would be like a spinoff series where we just put like 2 players in and they just like rap sass battle or something like that. I don't know.
Will and Atticus.
Yeah, need it.
Speaking of Maddie, though, we then go over to Bulai, where they're feeling the immediate ramifications of the twist of the episode, meaning that quick round, they don't have time to strategize much. They borderline only have a few moments to strategize for going to tribal council. And a lot of names are I shouldn't say are thrown out. A lot of names are talking. A lot of fun moments. I kind of feel like, I don't want to say fun moments, but it's kind of very obvious from the get-go. Maris has her work cut out for her. And this is kind of what I meant the last few episodes, where if you're stuck in exile the first round, you're fucked. Flat out. Probably not the best word to say on a live stream, but like you're basically screwed because you don't get to make those first bonds. And you kind of see everyone start to say like, hey, like your name's kind of getting thrown out there. And then she keeps trying to talk to them like, hey, like let's do something. But then no one's really giving her another name. I do think it was interesting that Zach was talking to Maddie as if they were kind of the power players. I think he made it. No, actually, that was me that jokingly compared him to like a Greek god joke is what I made in the live chat. As a joke, but yeah, I kind of think it was interesting that Zach and Maddie were somewhat thinking they're in a position of power this episode, when in reality, I kind of feel like majority of the power was lying within John, Ben, and Kira. Will it stay that way? Who really knows? But I do think it was interesting that as if they were the power player. Yeah, thank you for quoting me, Maddie. I'm not saying that Maddie was not a great position. I'm just saying that, it's really interesting because from an outside perspective looking in, it definitely looks like John, Ben, and Kira. So I definitely think Maddie does play this round socially phenomenally well. Obviously, it's never a good idea to have your name be the one out there for telling the bottom person it's you, because if they somehow have an idol or something, but
Yeah.
I think they kind of just know, like, I don't think they really thought of anything. Zach tries to get her to vote for Maddie, which was very interesting that Zach kept saying, I'm with you, and then kind of throws Maddie's name quickly to Maris. I don't know. What do you guys have to say about all of this? Maybe there's something that I missed that you guys can talk about and touch on right now.
Yeah, so, I was on the other side, so I didn't really get to see a lot of stuff go on. Watching this episode, it is kind of funny kind of seeing, because I feel like Zach thinks he's in a better position than he really is, I feel like, watching him kind of play the game. I feel like Zach was, like, thinking he has all the strengths, but it kind of feels like he doesn't have any strengths right now, because you kind of have the three in Ben, Kira, and John. Right there is pretty strong. They kind of have Maddie as well, like kind of connected to Ben, kind of. So they do have that fourth player, and then I feel like Maris and Zach and are kind of like on the outs, kind of, but they're just kind of playing with them a bit, just to say like, oh yeah, you're not on the bottom, but we still love you, So
yeah. I will say this quickly before you speak, Steib. Kira put something in there about Zach lying. I'm saying he was lying about it, but that I'm saying like he kind of threw Maddie's name out as a bit of a lie to Maris is what I was saying. I probably didn't make as much sense as I thought I did saying it. It's been a long day for me. Steib, what do you have to say about everything?
It's there was a lot of lying taking place, and you see a lot of the remaining bully members banding together in the sense of survival, and a lot of these players have to make a lot of big choices right now before this tribal council, because that just as one instance, you have Kira and Maris who know each other from outside of the game, as revealed in the episode, and you wonder if they're going to be able to make some way to get forward, or if they're just going to be able, if they're going to have to fight for themselves.
Yeah, honestly, I definitely agree with a lot of that. I think it's really, I mean, again, outside perspective looking in, at the moment, I kind of thought to myself, like, my thought process was Ben, John, and Kira were clearly running things. It's either, like, if Maddie and Zach decide to vote for Maris, then it's either Maris goes out with those who following them, unfortunately, or option B, they all decide, let's do a power play and try to go after the other one, and then they're able to scrape by versus that, which, who knows, maybe it will be one of those two ways, maybe it'll be completely different. We really don't know right now. What we do know is that I don't believe there was anything else from Tribal Council that I missed, right? Is that what we know? That I actually got everything now?
I
think so.
Other than I think so. Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like we're gonna have a comment saying like you forgot something.
How about the paper?
Yeah, the paper. Yeah, how did I forget that? The big moment of the episode. I'm glad you guys mentioned that. I was waiting for you guys to mention it. I shouldn't lie. I forgot too for a second. I'm tired. I got less than
it was on the tip of my tongue.
5 hours of sleep last night, so I'm an idiot. Jokes aside, yes, after the challenge, there was some talks that even led to a lot of the conversations before Tribal Council regarding a paper that fell on the ground near the goal line. A lot of really funny conversations came up with this because people were like, it's about an idol advantage, whatever, and they're all like, who's this? And we later find out through a voting confessional, it was Kira's, I believe, correct?
Correct. Who lost their goddamn papers?
Right.
I definitely thought that
big
moment
mystery
was really funny. that it was Kira who kind of started up all the chaos unintentionally. And again, it's like, I really like this cast so far. Again, up to this point, this is definitely a fun cast. Even some of the boring rounds, I would argue up to this point, this may have been one of the most boring episodes, but had such a fun moment in the paper. We have a lot of episodes to go, so we don't really know if it's going to get better, if it's going to get worse, what's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
What do you guys have to say for it?
Steib.
I think hilarity ensued, and I thought it was pretty hilarious. Although it seemed like the general consensus was that it came from Tyler. So even in that instance before the tribal, it seemed like some people had already made their mind up and said, "Oh, okay, that's not something that we need to worry about." And as the viewing audience already knows, both advantages have been found in the Bully tribe already. So it's very interesting to see what sorts of lies and deceptions can be made from something as simple as a little piece of paper.
All right, anything else you guys have to say? Or
Yeah, bouncing off you, both Bully ones have been found. Only one Vuka one has been found right now. So, and it was a steal vote one. So, what's going on there?
At least Vuku finally found something. I said that in the last breakdown.
Finally,
I needed
right?
Vuku to find something.
Finally.
So shouts out to Tyler.
well,
it's kind of funny how it was a steal vote one. So it's like it's not Tyler,
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny how it ended up being on Tyler,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this to kind of transition further on to that Vuku may have found a steal vote, but Bulai found himself going right back to Tribal Council. And I definitely thought this was kind of, I don't know, is there anything you guys really want to say about Tribal Council, or should I just get to the vote reveal? Because I don't think there's really much to talk about.
It was all just small talk and nothing really game-changing happening at Tribal, so.
Yeah.
So, by a vote of 5-1, the third person voted out of Survivor, New Blood, Maris. And it was very sad to kind of see her. Maris. Yeah, I said that right.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, you
He's just fucking with you.
I swear to God, I actually thought I said it wrong that time. I was like, I'm trying to say it right. I'm not the best with names.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I definitely think there was a kind of a predictable vote, you know. I mean, I don't think they claimed it was Maddie, but I don't think Maddie was ever going, especially after she told Ben, like, hey, I didn't get to tell you before, but I'm with you. Annika threw your name out, but I was not voting for you. Like, especially after she did all of that. What are you laughing at?
Just the comments.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. I did get your name then. Okay, thank God, Maris. Thank you. I was so scared I got it wrong. The long story short, though, it was kind of a boring vote, but still a fun episode overall. I will say the twist of giving him less time, although, albeit, I assume it was more so just for the fact of not having things drag on for too long, because some people know that we've had some seasons that went way too long, and then next thing you know, like, it's like example, like Legends, Survivor White Warriors last season, Legends, one of the ones I was in, we didn't end the game on day 2 until like midnight because everything went so damn long. So I kind of get in that perspective, but the only thing that kind of worried me gameplay wise was the fact that it's like when you have less time, you're kind of bound to just go borderline unanimous. It gives a little less options to, like, I don't want to say options or leeway, but like,
creating that blind side.
You're kind of more motivated by fear at that point rather than I think I have a little bit more time to make a move. I do think the twist is interesting, but I do think that it's like kind of like Cambodia with how they kind of did something like this and Survivor CBS Cambodia, where they were flat out like, oh, you know, like, you're going right to Tribal Council in like the first episode. Like, that's all returning players, but here, I don't know.
I kind of wish we would have had a couple extra minutes, but I kind of get it, you know. Aleks Steib, what do you have to say about Maris being the third one voted out and having a chance to get back into the game?
I think the result of the tribal council is unfortunate, and it is kind of a cliche in games of Survivor or LRGs. If there's an exile twist, somebody comes into a tribe, they're like one challenge or so behind building those key relationships early in the game, and it's unfortunate that the unanimous tribe just gets together and just says, all right, we can just cast off an easy one. So it is unfortunate for Maris's game. However, just like Annika and just like Atticus, her game is not over, and it remains to be seen when they will get that shot. But good luck to all three of them so far.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say, really. I kind of said all I needed to say, you know? Yeah.
Alrighty, so I do think that
Play
we
the
should
game.
go on to our next part of this breakdown, and that is our player of the episode.
Yep.
So, Aleks Steib, who would you guys honestly consider the player of the episode this round?
I will not go first.
What? Now I want you to go first just because you said that now.
Nope. I refuse.
Oh,
All right, I can go first.
Okay.
This player of episode 3, they were on the losing tribe in the challenge in this episode. They took quite a few bullets for their team despite the loss, and they were still able to fight on through and use those relationships that they built to further their game. So shout out to Ben. You are my player of episode 3. Congratulations. For the kids.
For the kids, if he has any left.
Yes.
Aleks, your turn.
So this guy, you know, losing tribe, played a very good game. Starts with a B. I'm talking about Blake, dude. Just kidding.
Wait, what?
I want to not put my middle finger up. Like
John.
this.
It's John V. I think he had the. I think he was player of the game for sure. Just again, he knows how to stay calm under pressure and just kind of know like, hey, I have a good alliance right now. Let me just kind of put this vote on Maris and just kind of call it as that, and just kind of because he's really good at getting people to vote with him, and it kind of showed in this tribal as well. So. That's my pick.
So this is really hard for me because I actually do think there's a couple people I kind of thought of for player of the episode. I don't know because honestly, I was even thinking about it at one point. I almost thought of Zach at one point, but then I'm like, I'm not sure about Zach just because as much as I'd love to give Zach, I can't say names today. Jesus. As much as I say that I think Zach has some potential, I do think he's in a bit of a better position he thinks he's in a better position than he actually is. Honestly, I am going to give some love to Maddie again tonight as my player of the episode. I think Maddie socially plays this off very well, even though I'm not 100% confident in how she's going to move forward within this group of 5, because I think it's very clear she's further on the bottom from what it seems like. I do think there is a lot of potential for her to get through because obviously they're all know it's going to be like final 3 or final 2 or 3. They're not all going to be able to win at the end. So I think eventually they could think of it like that. And I think Maddie may be aware of that. So, yeah, I don't know. Maddie definitely gave me great vibes this round. I'm like, Maddie's slipping on by. And in the early game, you need to slip on by. You need to keep your mouth shut. And Maddie's very well aware enough to keep her mouth shut, as well as even try to give information to people. Like Ben, trying to get a good bond with Ben, and maybe that will even help her in the later game. Who knows? Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. We know. You don't. You have to find out. So, is there anything? Oh wow, the comments are popping up. I'm trying to get to all of them. Is there anything else you guys have to say about the episode in general before we move on to the next part?
No, you know, it was kind of like the bottle episode. You gotta watch it, but it kind of it still forwards the story. It's not like the best episode we have out there. So it still forwards the story, but it's not like the pinnacle of episodes we have. So yeah, it's not the worst, but like wasn't really big.
Alrighty, so with that in mind, before we get to our next part, I do have a fun little announcement to make. So obviously we've done a lot of fun Survivor stuff over the years. A lot of that has been spearheaded by Devin, a friend of ours, whose birthday is tomorrow. So we want to say happy birthday to Devin.
Happy birthday!
And then thank you guys. We do want to say happy birthday to Devin. We hope you have a fun day. We can't wait to see what happens in the future, So, yeah, with that in mind, yeah, we got some comments going off for happy birthday to Devin.
Hey, Ben, who's D. Evan?
Let the good times roll.
Yeah. Aleks, I swear to God, you snarky little...
All the happy birthdays in the chat. Thank you all for being here in the live chat as well.
Yeah, thank you guys for the comments and everything.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing I want to get to is our usual questionnaire. There will be another announcement. Nothing new in this announcement. I'll be putting at the end. Aleks snarky little. Yeah, Aleks is a snarky little. Like, I was going to say something else, but I don't want to get in trouble for saying it on the live stream. Aleks knows. Aleks knows. Don't you, Aleks? All right, now let's get to the question. There was one that I think Matt earlier. I'm trying to find it.
Well, let's start with Ben's question. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, Maddie actually said this like 10 minutes ago, I think, or 5 minutes ago. Maddie says, I want to hear some hot takes from the panelists. Like, give us a mistake you think people made so far or a move someone should have made. This is a really interesting one I wanted to touch on first before we get to Ben's question. Although Ben's is next in queue, guys. So I will go first. I really think... I'm trying to think. A mistake someone made, and this is obviously just me looking in. So, like, we're not going to have the exact same mindset some of y'all had. I think a big mistake someone made so far was probably, I think it was a pretty obvious one. Probably Atticus being the first one to throw out a name in episode 2. You never want to be the first one to throw out a name. That's why you look at some of my past seasons. I'm always deathly terrified to be the guy to throw out the name first because I don't want to pull a Sierra Easton, get voted out first for throwing out the wrong name. So I think it was a bit of a mistake. I love seeing Atticus play the game. He does have a chance to get back in, but could that reputation follow him for how aggressive he was and trying to get at pit people left and right? I cannot speak today. Steib, Aleks, what is your answer to this question?
I feel like Tyler not kind of keeping Will and Atticus together is, right now, because, he doesn't know it, but the 3 girls on that tribe are kind of sticking strong. So if those 3 could have just, kind of hung in there and just kind of been like, might have just won the girls maybe and saved both our asses, maybe that would have changed the game a bit, but yeah.
Okay, Steib, what do you think about this?
Well, to follow up on one of my opinions last week about being sneaky when it comes to finding advantages in this game of Survivor Wisconsin, I've got to say I got a mistake from this episode we've just seen. It's got to go to Kira because she did drop the little paper that came with her hidden immunity idol, and it didn't exactly like cause any problems for her or her game, but she was able to continue to survive and hang on to that for future. And it's no, it just goes back to my opinion last week. You got to be very careful with those things because there are people that see that other people have idols, as John has said in his interviews. Information is power, and you got to be very careful with something powerful like that.
All right. Now let's go to the next question. Ben, will I be able to have children?
No.
Possibly.
Straight up, probably not.
I am not
You
a
were
doctor.
taking
I
shot
refuse
after
to give-
shot, dude.
I am not a doctor. I refuse to give legal advice. I cannot afford a lawyer or to be sued at this point, Ben. Go ask a real doctor. Actually, wait. Who? Actually, I'm not gonna make the joke. Actually, it's probably too much as a joke. I think people definitely liked that question. All right, so a good question from Maris. Rich Dog, Aleks, Steib. Hindsight is 2020. How could I survive this tribal council? Do you think exposing John and Taylor relationship would help cause some chaos? Honestly, I'm going to answer the second part first for my part of it, and then I'll pass on to you guys to answer both parts. I'm not sure. I feel like John was in such a good position in the tribe that I'm really not sure if exposing John and Taylor would have done a lot, just because I think John was pretty well situated. Surviving the tribal council, I wanted to say something snarky and said, like, pick a different ball, but, like, I think the only way you really could have realistically survived the tribal council is probably I want to say almost like getting information of sorts to use and, like, talk to Ben, John, and Kira, gain some massive trust with them, and then probably try to throw Zach and Maddie under the bus. I think was kind of your only potential option. Go up to those three in charge, find who's in charge, throw the bomb dwellers under. You survive another day. Maybe not the best move long term, but if you're looking to survive round by round, not the worst option. And that's at least what I think. Aleks, Steib, what do you guys think?
For me, I love blowing stuff up, so definitely why I've never won the game, but I would have just gone guns and blazing after you came back from exile and just be like, hey, you know what? John and Taylor, they're together. But don't vote me. Vote Taylor. Vote John. That's it. But for you played the game before, so you probably had a better. You probably had a way better strategy of doing that, but it just kind of sucks that you were kind of like the odd person out, and yeah. But I would have gone. I would have just gone gun blazing, just be like, hey, they're together. Vote John out. I'm a number. Yeah.
Steib, what do you think?
Oh, that's a tough two-parter, or at least the first part's tough. But the second part, yes, certainly we're all in agreement. Exposing that relationship would have caused absolute chaos, and it could have certainly twisted some opinions on John and or Taylor to think about that long term. But as far as how to survive this tribal council, it's not like you could have known Kira had the idol. I would have tried to make a pitch to her to work with her and perhaps get Zach on your side. That could at least be three people. Beyond that, it would be tough to sway a fourth. But maybe if you could go 3-3, you could possibly draw rocks.
Well, sometimes the thought of a rock draw, and I think Devin can vouch for me with this, considering that he narrowly avoided a rock draw in his first season, all the way back in the olden days of Whitewater's first season, when they had the first rock draw at the final 6. I think he could definitely say that some people will be very stubborn and go to a rock draw. Other people will use a fear of a rock draw to just say, like, hell no, you're going to do what I want, or we're going to rocks. Devin said that he would have used Maris there to make a move, but everyone in Bulai feels safe with their spot. Bulai, I don't know why I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Maybe Kira could have pulled someone else like John V or something. Yeah, it definitely would have came down to Kira and John to make this move happen. So, Maris low-key would have changed my mind with that. Okay. Having said that, he was throwing my name out there. And then Aleks said, I think she was talking about something you said a couple questions ago.
I put in chat, so I think she understood what I said.
Okay. Coming guns blazing. Oh yeah, she's trying to save that info for later. She came out guns blazing. Who really knows?
Yeah.
I don't know if that really would have done much of anything, telling that John and Taylor were dating or what, and like all their like past experiences. But like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think it would have done differently, only because I think John was so solidified in his spot that it would have maybe have fallen back more on Taylor. Like the Blue Eyes would have been more like, let's get Taylor. Maybe the Vukus would have been a little more, let's get John. I don't know. That's just my perspective on it. Kira thought she put it in the most foolproof place for her little note. That was funny. Rich Dog gatekeeping his jokes. I always forget what gatekeep means half the time, so it's funny. I don't know what that means right now. There's a lot of comments. Well, I'm just trying to get to all of them and like find the next question. Ooh, here's a fun question, you guys. Devin says, for our 10th season, can it be legends from mainly Whitewater who should play one last time with a few Wisconsin players and then Wisconsin All-Star level players in a future season on its own, or something else? And we're not
like
I'll pass on to you guys first. I just say let's not spoil anything from this season because I have a couple things I want to say, but I'll let you guys go first.
Yeah. So I do feel like the 10th season should be the final Whitewater season where we're all like, if anybody from Whitewater is going to play their last time, that is the season that they should play. And then I feel like afterwards, we just kind of say what Whitewater's done. This is Wisconsin now. And then just do Wisconsin All-Stars then in the future. Yeah.
There we go. My computer mouse pad wasn't working. Steib, what do you think?
That's a pretty loaded question from the soon-to-be birthday boy. I think that's an absolutely fair take. There were plenty of legendary players that played in the game of Survivor Whitewater before we became Wisconsin. And I think it's fair that they could do their own season. And it does say with a few Wisconsin players, so who knows how many few actually means. But then Wisconsin All-Stars on their own season, I think that's absolutely fair as well. Yeah, I'm in support of this.
I actually kind of disagree with it, only because
only because you want to play more. That's why.
That is true. I do want to
That's
play
why.
more. I do want to play more, but that's not the reason why. That's actually not the reason why, although I will give you that. I do want to play more. The long story short, if I was in a mindset of planning like a bunch of seasons out in the future, and I knew like some of them have to be like returning seasons, I wouldn't full out exclude, like obviously I would put more focus on the Wisconsin people, obviously, but I wouldn't flat out rule out any Whitewater people on the off chance that like, say we ever end up like needing people, like say like we eventually get all the way down to like a season where like we actually need a couple people and the only 3 people are Whitewater people. I wouldn't completely rule them out. I would at least think it over, and if they fit the theme, cool. If not, whatever. 10th season though, if I was planning like a bunch of seasons out, I would almost want to say like 10 should be like second chance and just bring back a bunch of players from Whitewater and Wisconsin who haven't gotten a second chance yet. I would almost want to say like you're like a Wisconsin All-Stars for 11 of just players who started in Wisconsin and only did Wisconsin for season 11, like an All-Star thing, and then do Heroes versus Villains for like 12, and then sometime way after that, like maybe like 20, do like all winners. How fun would that be? That's just kind of my thoughts. Yeah, I don't know. I could definitely think of like some All-Star worthy players for like a second chance or like Wisconsin All-Star season, but that's just me. For the main part of answering that question, I would never rule any Whitewater people out, only because it's only when you start to rule people out that casting becomes harder. The pool becomes a little smaller for those
But
returns.
he's saying like legends from Whitewater. So you have like the big dogs playing in this one last all Whitewater season, kind of capping off all the legends that have played in that series.
I know about.
So there's still, 2-time players that can come back. They're not, legends. Like there's still players you can get back, but like
Right,
I
and I
feel
think definitely the term
there's players that
legend.
you just don't need back anymore, like because it'll be kind of like a Boston Rob's situation where like he keeps coming back and it just keeps getting over and over and over. Like, oh, I see him again, great,
I definitely think that we have different definitions of the word legend because legend meant something completely different in Whitewater. Maybe it means something different now. But I definitely wouldn't rule anyone out. Maybe say I'm not sure, maybe sometime in the future. But honestly, I'd lean more towards the newer players, obviously. But I would never flat out rule anyone out entirely. That's just the way I see it. So, anything else we want to comment on this before we move on to the next question?
No.
Okay. I'm just seeing a lot of these comments now because a lot of them are just popping up on my screen now. So I'm sorry if I'm way behind you guys. I can't remember who told me John and Taylor were together, but I remember it being mind-blowing. I was in shock. Well, people obviously talked after the season. I'm just going through comments of all these guys. This is a Rebecca shout-out, our rock draw queen. I don't know what that means, but okay. I'm assuming it's something from the podcast that Rebecca does, which go listen to it. Rebecca, I think, mentioned it in one of the episodes. Go listen to Rebecca's podcast. I think Rebecca has a podcast, right? Or is it her own Survivor Series she hosts?
I don't know.
I thought she said a podcast. I know she said something about a Survivor Series that she's in charge of. So I'll watch both. If I didn't think everyone's gone home on Amaris, I would have been so happy to know that. People should have talked more, but I'm trying to find questions, guys. Come on, give us some good questions, That was a great question right there. Wow, this is a lot of comments in the last couple minutes, guys. It's actually funny. Kira, Devin's question is giving Survivor 50 dilemma. It is a good question. Yeah, Kira also followed up saying it's a good question. I do agree. It's a fun question. I really like it. 5 minutes to strategize is brutal. I 100% agree, Amy. That is brutal. I luckily have never been in that. At least I don't believe I've been in that spot where we only had that much time to strategize. Getting the time we get alone is very crucial. Every minute alone is massively crucial, and it can make or break your game. So, do you guys agree with that, or?
Yeah, all three seasons I've played, I've had to go to tribal instantly with no strategy at all, and it kind of sucked. But yeah,
it's a wild ride. Yes.
Yeah, me and Steib can just contest. We were both in that's a situation where it was oh, tribal, no talk, and it sucked.
Yeah.
Hey,
here we got a bit of an answer about. We got a bit of an answer. If you guys have any other questions, please roll them out now before we end with our last announcement before we go, as well as a sneak peek, which I will see after other questions. So Maddie says her own Survivor season, not podcast, though. I think that's good to know. Thank you, Maddie. That's what I thought. I want to why.
Kira has a question.
I just said I'm going to quickly... Oh, okay. So Kira has another question. Speaking of the Teacher Alliance, do you have a favorite lie that told over all of your season? Oh, favorite lie that's from any season that's been told.
Trying to think here.
I have a couple in mind, but I'm just not 100% sure.
So far, recency bias is winning for me. I'd say Ben's lie about being a teacher. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, it does.
I will say, I will say for one of my favorite lies, I don't know if I'd say it's a full-on lie. Back in Survivor Legends, the final Whitewater season, before we rebranded to Wisconsin and all that, there was a point where
I was supposed to be the split vote. We had a double tribal early on. I was like freaking out. I was not fully aware of how close I was to getting voted out. I think it was like a 4-2 to 1 vote. I think it was or was it 5-2 to 1? I don't remember. All I remember is that I was the one who got the second most amount of votes, and I was so confused. And I kind of found out like I was kind of the split vote. And at the end of the season, so I think I talked to Christian about it, and he was all like, well, you know, I was trying to get you to work with me in fear tactics. I definitely like that lie because I kind of looked at Christian immediately after. It wasn't like a lie what he said at Final Tribal. It was a lie, and I was a split vote. Because, like, he was saying that he used fear tactics to get to me, and that's why the real reason of why, you know, he put those votes on me. Not to split the votes, but partially split the votes, but not really split the votes, but to get me on his side fear tactic-wise. I thought that was a funny lie. It was one of my favorites. Just because I literally looked at him right after, and I'm like, Christian, you did not need to do that. That was such a dumb idea. And, like, I just sat right back down in the jury, like... Legends was a fun ride, but oh my gosh.
I think my favorite lie was Summer Solstice Allie kind of saying, hey, I have this idol that is good for Final Four and I can get out of this.
That, I forgot that. That's
a good lie.
Yeah, like honestly, like right, and that's what I really like about like a lot of the like some of the lies that do come up that we mentioned, there's always some form of strategy to them. Like Christian's was to get me on his side by not telling me the real reason was to get fear tactics. Allie's was to get by to the final 3 and manipulate people. And then honestly, Ben's. Will Ben's work out? Who knows? So, episodes 4 and 5 are going to be some fun ones, folks. Get ready. I will actually give a sneak peek for episode 4 in a little bit. I'm just trying to get through the Kenzie Haas lie, Corey says. Real ones, no. I feel like I should have known that, considering that I played with her. Corey, have you been pulling the wool over my damn eyes? I swear to God, Corey, we have to talk later tonight, Corey. Ben, I feel like with this season, being people who are not knowing each other, it was easier to pull off something like the teacher lie. 100%, I agree with that. A lot of our past seasons have been people who were heavily know each other, especially in the Whitewater days. Like most of us like the Whitewater days were like we knew each other so damn well that like the cliques were already formed from like the first or second season. So like that's one of the reasons I do like this season so far. It is a fresh cast, fresh perspectives, you know, like
new blood.
Exactly, new blood. So Ben's saying what up to Corey, big fan. I think we're all fans of Corey, Ben. I like Corey. He's a guy. We do have another question. As someone who was there, okay. I think he was kind of agreeing with you, Aleks. As someone who was there, nobody believed Allie. She was more than safe. Okay, I thought you were going to respond to that, but okay.
No, because you're right wrong. Nobody believed Allie had, like, nobody believed Allie, I think, had, like, Allie's idol was good until 4, I think he was trying to say. I forget, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's in the past now.
We got to keep moving. It's a fast-paced game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, fast-paced game. Rich Dog has a slogan. Who knows? Yeah, I do have that. Who knows? I know. Does anyone watch Dexter? Because I keep thinking of that with the season being called New Blood. I've heard of it. I don't think I've watched it. I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I'm right now
watches it.
up on a lot of shows. I haven't watched the last couple of years. Like I just started binging Australian Survivor. So I've been binging that the last like month and a half. You guys watch Dexter?
My brother does, and he says it's good. But yeah, it's kind of funny how the new season is called New Blood. Oh, series, I think. New series or like renewed season. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that's kind of called New Blood.
Corey, I don't think he liked that Devin said that.
Damn, we're beefing in the chat now. Holy crap.
I love
Let me
this.
get
This is
this,
fun
man.
drama, though. This is fun drama.
Let me get in.
Fun
Tap me in.
drama. Okay. Okay, do you have something to say to this, Alex? You said tap me in.
Oh no, I was just trying to see if anyone wanted to, toss shit at me first. I'll afraid to,
It's Devin's birthday in Europe. He says it's birthday until tomorrow.
Right now, go to the Eiffel Tower, get some free
Move
wine.
forward a couple time zones. It's your birthday.
Hey, man.
Let's round up.
If we're in Australia, happy birthday, right?
Like your birthday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Happy birthday, governor.
Oh my gosh, now I want to go to Europe. Any other questions you guys have for us? Any last minute questions before we move on to the last couple things before we?
Yeah, I feel like we should read the preview.
Well, I was about to get to that.
Yes. Let's read the darn preview.
They'll type it in chat. It doesn't matter, but let's just get to the preview.
Oh, actually.
Never mind, take that back.
Yeah, because we just got a question, Alex. That's why I said wait a minute. Which way was each of your favorite seasons of Survivor Wisconsin series and Survivor Whitewater series? You guys go first. I would love to hear what you have to think about the Whitewater series, Alex. I would really like to hear it.
Yeah, it's not your season, of course. I will just stick with Wisconsin because I played in most of those ones. So I'll say my favorite season is probably this one for Wisconsin. And I'll say Legends for Whitewater.
Have you actually watched Legends?
I've watched 2 episodes of it.
Okay, I'll give you that.
It's good right now, so.
Fair enough. Steib, what about you?
When you said this season, do you mean the one that we're premiering right now?
Yeah.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
That's pretty high praise. And I think that just goes to show you, to the viewing audience, please continue to keep watching our content. The season's only going to get better and better from here, clearly. For Whitewater, I think I got to go with Second Chance or Last Chance. That was the second season that I ever played. I managed to go a little further than I did in my first attempt, so that was fun. And I think that was a very fun season of multiple people getting one last shot to get into a Whitewater, to get a Survivor Whitewater win. And as far as Survivor Wisconsin, I'm going to have to say Evolution, because Evolution had some very fun newer players, but it also had a lot of veterans just battling it out. And I thought that season was very entertaining.
For me, my favorite's not Twit Manor, I'll tell you that much. For those of you who don't know, my first season was Twist Manor. It is not my favorite season. It was such a boring run. It's kind of like a bottle episode.
I should said Desi's. I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
Alex, shut the hell up.
Twist Manor is my favorite season of Whitewater.
Alex, I'm gonna mute you.
My least favorite is
Do you want me to mute you?
Please. No.
Okay. Moving on. My favorite. It's really hard for me. It's either Legends or Fans versus Favorites. I don't know. I'm stuck between.
That's my worst one. I feel like Fans versus Favorites is the worst one in my opinion.
I will mute you right now. Okay, seriously.
Now we're beefing. Now the panelists are beefing. What the hell, guys?
Let me finish. Okay, let me finish.
Let's stop being toxic on a Monday.
Yeah, guys, let's wait till Wednesday to be toxic.
It's Monday. It's Monday night. Let's get raw.
Okay, no. To seriously answer the question, though, I do lean a little bit Fans versus Favorites because I do think that was a really fun game. I almost said Legends, but for the sake of kind of giving a different answer, I will say Fans versus Favorites. For the Whitewater side, for the Wisconsin side, giving it a little bit of praise at the moment, definitely New Blood. Keep watching. Maybe you'll see why I really like it right now. I think it's a fun game so far. Yes, and then there was just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything else before we yeah, and then I will get to something else I almost missed before.
Did we get to the preview yet?
I was about to get to the preview. I'm just trying to. There was a lot of comments that just came in. I'm trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, to recap,
let Aleks speak.
Whitewater season is Legends. My least
Absolutely.
favorite is Fans vs. Favorites, and my second favorite is Twist Manor.
I feel like you're just saying that to spite me.
And my new favorite is Evolution.
Hell yeah, me too.
You're literally just saying it to spite me, Aleks. I swear to God.
Let me speak.
I should have muted you when I had the chance.
Yeah, you should have.
No, jokes aside. We had this come in. I want to hear the preview. Okay, Maddie,
Right,
you're getting your wish. Let me pull it up. I had it written down.
Can we get some hashtag free Aleks in the chat, please?
I'm in
Lock
jail now.
him in. Are you kidding me?
He is locked down by the man, the rich dog.
You guys make. I swear to God, I feel.
Just because I was late to the meeting, man. You know, can't believe it.
Out on the green.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Thank
Now
you.
you approach
Appreciate
the
it.
masses, guys. Great. Thank you. Great. Okay.
The fact that me and Chris love beef going all the way back to summer solstice is kind of funny.
That's awesome.
Maybe you should have
Unresolved
said fans versus favorites as one of your favorites, and then maybe he would have. Corey, I'm not showing that comment.
You know what? I like it, Corey.
Okay, jokes aside, let's get to the preview for the next episode. Things get shaken up more than once for the remaining players, and a record-setting challenge takes a forefront with the rebirth on the horizon. What does that mean? Who knows? We know. You don't. That's probably my slogan at this point.
Yeah.
I would my catchphrase would have just been the middle finger, but God. Yeah, a lot of people I think really
Record-setting challenge.
Record-setting challenge. What could it mean? Who really knows? But I will say one last thing before we end the live stream. We do have our season 8 application open for new players, and we do have it open. I think the description or the link is in the description. Go check it out. Check out our past episodes, past seasons. Give some like and love to it. We'd really appreciate it. We love all the comments you guys gave us. I'll give about like 20 seconds about in case anyone else has anything they want to say question-wise to us. But we really thank you guys for coming out tonight. We really thank you guys for coming out tonight. We really thank you guys for watching all of our episodes. Like and subscribe. Good job, guys. We hope to see you again soon. Of course, the 750 legs don't come out of retirement. Corey, I
Let's
think
not hit that.
one way or another.
All right, I'm going to go create 740 Google accounts. Good night, everybody.
I already
Yeah,
have
I'm with
4, so I mean,
Okay.
give Corey 749 legs. Okay,
Thanks, Ben.
Maddie. All right, have a great night, you guys. Thank
We'll
so
see you
much.
Thursday.
See you Thursday,
Thursday.
June 19th. Back here, same time, same channel. Good luck, you guys. Thank you for watching.
Good night.
Why did I say good luck? I'm such an idiot.